In Robert Mueller's office's filing today in the case of Michael Cohen, we've got a brief document. It's only 7 pages in total. The bottom line, the purpose of this document in terms of the Cohen case is for Mueller and his prosecutors to advocate to the judge in Cohen's case that Cohen not do any additional prison time for the one felony that they persuaded him to plead guilty to. But in the course of making that case, we learn a lot from Mueller and from how Cohen's case and about how Cohen's case fits into the overall scandal. So remember here what happened is that Cohen initially pled guilty to 8 felonies in federal district court in New York. That was a deal that he worked out with the prosecutors in the Southern District of New York. We know from today's other filing in the Cohen case that they ended up subsequently not that happy with the cooperation they got from him as a witness, and they think that the judge should put him in jail for a long time. Thereafter, Cohen pled guilty to another felony based on his work with prosecutors from the special counsel's office. They got him to plead guilty to lying to Congress about the Trump Tower Moscow project. And so essentially what they're saying here is, yes, we got him to plead guilty to an additional felony, but we don't think that that should give him any additional jail time. All right, so this is from the filing. Quote, special counsel's office provides this memorandum in connection with the sentencing of Michael Cohen scheduled for December 12, 2018. On November 29th, Cohen pled guilty to 1 count of making false statements to Congress. The government does not take a position with respect to a particular sentence to be imposed, but submits that it is appropriate for any sentence of incarceration to be served concurrently to any sentence imposed by the court in United States versus Cohen. So again, what that means is if Cohen's going to get any prison time for the other felonies that he pled to with prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, that's fine, but don't make this additional time, not for us. They go on, quote, the defendant's crime was serious. He withheld information material to the investigations of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, investigations being conducted by the Senate Intelligence Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, and the Special Counsel's Office. The defendant lied to Congress about a business project, the Moscow project, that he worked on during the 2016 campaign while he served as executive vice president at the Trump Organization and as special counsel to Donald Trump. The defendant admitted he told these lies, which he made publicly and in submissions to Congress, in order to, 1, minimize links between the Moscow project and Donald Trump, and 2, give the false impression that the Moscow project had ended before the Iowa caucus and the first presidential primaries, in hopes of limiting the ongoing Russia investigations being conducted by Congress and the Special Counsel's Office. Okay, at this point in the filing, we're pretty much up to where Michael Cohen was when he pled guilty in court in New York last week and said, yeah, I lied to Congress about Trump Tower Moscow. But did you notice that one additional detail we got there? He told these lies in submissions to Congress and publicly. That ends up being an important new development here. Quote, the defendant's lies to Congress were deliberate and premeditated. His false statements did not spring spontaneously from a line of examination or heated colloquy during a congressional hearing. They started in a written submission that he chose to provide to both houses of Congress ahead of his appearances. These circumstances show a deliberate effort to use his lies as a way to set the tone and shape the course of the hearings in an effort to stymie the inquiries. Okay, so the special counsel's office here is saying that covering up the Moscow project, covering up the whole Trump Tower Moscow thing, wasn't just something that he panicked and did on the spur of the moment. It was a deliberate, considered, planned process, which of course raises the question of whether or not it involved other people. Turns out, yes, in a way, they're saying it did involve other people. Quote, the defendant amplified his false statements by releasing and repeating his lies to the public, including to other potential witnesses. Ding, ding, ding. The defendant was scheduled to appear before both intelligence committees in closed sessions. Prior to testifying, the defendant made a public appearance at the U.S. Capitol and released his prepared opening statement, which falsely claimed that the Moscow project was terminated in January 2016. By publicly presenting this false narrative, the defendant deliberately shifted the timeline of what had occurred in the hopes of limiting the investigation into possible Russian interference in the presidential election. All right, so this is important. Michael Cohen, we learned today, did not just lie to Congress, but according to the special counsel's office, which again is sort of looking kindly upon him, It's important that he lied to the public because in so doing, when he made that public statement, he didn't just give it behind closed doors to Congress. When he made that public restatement of his lie in Congress testimony, that was effectively a message to the other witnesses who might know about the Trump Tower Moscow project, telling them that, hey, basically, this is how you should lie about this matter, too, because this is how I'm lying about it to Congress. Let's all get our stories straight. And remember, Congressman Jim Himes of the House Intelligence Committee suggested to us just a few days ago, after Michael Cohen's testimony on Trump Tower Moscow was revealed to be a lie. Remember, he came on this show just the other night and said, you know, I'm not going to talk about what everybody said in detail behind closed doors in that closed testimony, but we got a lot of testimony from a number of different witnesses about Trump Tower Moscow. And if Michael Cohen is now saying his testimony was a lie, well, I can tell you when we had other people testifying about it, we didn't notice strong inconsistencies between their testimony and what Cohen said. What this suggests is that Cohen went public with his false testimony as a way to convey to the other witnesses who knew about Trump Tower Moscow how they should lie about it as well, which makes it a cover-up that involves not just one person, but multiple people. And oh, wait, there's more. The defendant's false statements obscured the fact that the Moscow project was a lucrative business opportunity that sought and likely required the assistance of the Russian government. If this project was completed, the company could have received hundreds of millions of dollars from Russian sources in licensing fees and other revenues. The fact that Cohen continued to work on the project and discuss it with Donald Trump well into the campaign was material to the ongoing congressional and special counsel's investigations, particularly because it occurred at a time of sustained efforts by the Russian government to interfere with the U.S. presidential election. All right, this is important, too. What we're learning here from the special counsel's office is that Trump Tower Moscow wasn't some tiddlywinks deal. Trump Tower Moscow was going to result, if it succeeded, in hundreds of millions of dollars being paid from Russian sources to the Trump Organization. Michael Cohen downplayed the financial importance of the project, but the special counsel's office is saying here that they have evidence, and they go into it in more detail. They have evidence how remunerative this deal was going to be. Hundreds of millions of dollars from Russian sources to the Trump Organization. And this is what Trump was lying about during the campaign, saying he had no deals and no pending deals in Russia. It was a lucrative business opportunity that sought and likely required the assistance of the Russian government. So at this point in the filing, the special counsel's office then goes on to say that actually the first time that Michael Cohen came to them for his first meeting, which he requested in August 2018, he initially lied to the special counsel's office, too. He kept telling those same lies about Trump Tower Moscow. It was only after he pled guilty that he came back and met with the special counsel's office again and finally came clean and told them how big a deal it was. And in fact, that it had not been over before the voting started. It had continued throughout the campaign during the entire time that Trump was trying to line up the nomination. So Cohen, quote, admitted that he had lied to Congress and to the special counsel's office about the Moscow project. He provided detailed information about the true circumstances of the Moscow project, including its duration, the persons involved in the discussions, contact with Russian government officials, and discussions during the first half of 2016 about the possibility of travel to Russia in connection with the Moscow project. In addition to correcting the timeline and detailing the contacts he had during pursuit of the Moscow project, Cohen explained financial aspects of the deal that would have made it highly lucrative for the company and himself. The information provided by Cohen about the Moscow project in these proffer sessions is consistent with and corroborated by other information obtained in the course of the special counsel's investigation. So they've got it. They've got Trump Tower Moscow. And specifically, they've got the fact that it would have resulted in Russian sources paying hundreds of millions of dollars to Trump's campaign, and they needed the Russian government in order to make the deal go ahead. That is what the president was not telling the truth about to the American people during the campaign. And Russia knew it at the time. The special counsel's office isn't just saying that Cohen has pled to this. They're saying they checked what he told them about this, and it is corroborated by other information that they were able to obtain about this deal. That is a really big problem for the president. The defendant's assistance has been useful in 4 significant respects. First, the defendant provided information about his own contacts with Russian interests during the campaign and discussions with others in the course of making those contacts. For example, as described, the defendant provided a detailed account of his involvement and the involvement of others in the Moscow project. The defendant also provided information about attempts by other Russian nationals to reach the campaign. The special counsel's office at this point in the filing describes a previously unknown overture from another Russian about Trump Tower Moscow, an overture that they say that Cohen did not necessarily himself follow up on. But now, the way the filing ends is basically the sort of big money, no whammies here. They're saying that he helped them in 4 different ways, right? He provided them information about his own contacts with Russian interests. Second, Cohen provided the special counsel with useful information concerning certain discrete Russia-related matters core to its investigation that he obtained by virtue of his regular contact with Trump Organization executives during the campaign. So we don't know what this is, but Cohen gave the special counsel useful information about certain discrete Russia-related matters core to Mueller's investigation. He obtained this information because of his contact with people who worked at the Trump Organization. So presumably that means the president. That could also mean anybody else who was involved both in the campaign and the Trump Organization who had anything to do with Russia. We do know that the president's eldest son, Don Jr., did go to the Trump Tower meeting with Russian lawyers promising dirt on Hillary Clinton. Special counsel also says that Cohen provided relevant and useful information concerning his contacts with persons connected to the White House during 2017 and 2018. So apparently Cohen's helpfulness has not just been confined to the campaign. It's this year too, and it's since Trump has been president. And finally, Cohen described the circumstances of preparing and circulating his response to congressional inquiries. Again, it appears that what the special counsel's office is saying about his response to congressional inquiries is that he lied, and he lied in a way that was designed to be part of an organized cover-up that involved everybody else who knew about the president's secret financial dealings with Russia that he was lying about during the campaign, which might have resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars in Russian-sourced funds coming to him and his company had the Russian government did what he wanted. We're going to get some expert advice on sorting this out when we come back. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.